we started up 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago was our first concert. And the band had been kind of in a hiatus for a few years because the former Mazama director had been the director, and then when he retired, it just kind of went kind of the way of the dinosaur for a couple of 3-4 years. We operated for the last couple of years just, hey, we need music, people just kicked in money, but we decided, you know, we needed to be our own entity.
I think, you know, for a while there was a desire from wind musicians, percussionists in the community for this kind of outlet. You know, playing in a symphony or playing in these other groups that we have around town is a very different experience than a typical traditional community band format.
We've been doing 3 shows a year. We typically do a spring show, a 4th of July concert, and then a Christmas concert. Whether we stay locked into those particular themed concerts, who knows? But 4th of July and Christmas seem to be really popular ones, and then the spring concert that's a concert I say stuff that Rob wants to play.
Yeah.
It's stuff that it's really geared for the people in the band to play some really classical band literature. But this concert we're still doing that and still having some fun at the same time, where the audience, I think, will have a good time as well.
Their community, tradition, history, all wrapped into one group effort. You know, it used to be back in the early 1900s, every little town had their own community band, and they served a very vital function of that community, whether it was showing off to other communities or celebrating patriotic events, or even back in the military days where they served a military role. And you know, still carrying those traditions through to the future is something that I really like about this type of group.
Let's go right at A. Right at A. Ready? 1, 2, ready.
I think from the musician side, we have complete trust in what Rob puts together for a program. I mean, we've had some really great programs with challenging music, and that's what a lot of the members might hear them say to you, that, you know, we want to be challenged as musicians, whereas you go to play in a symphony and maybe you're not playing a lot in that because you're not the focal point of the group. You know, the strings are the dominant members of that kind of group, and so I mean, it's just the way those groups are structured, you don't get that creative outlet the same you would in this kind of setting. We're a newly formed nonprofit group, so a lot of that is to be determined. But I mean, what's written into my role in our bylaws that we submitted is outreach, advertising, and things like that, you know, making sure that people know about our band and our events, and trying to get the word out so that we can have successful, well-attended events. From what I understand, it had always been a desire of the group to be a nonprofit. Even before Rob, they were trying, but it just never really gained ground. And so when we started this group up, you know, it was always kind of, I think, in our minds that we wanted to eventually set this up as a formal nonprofit that we could really take advantage of different grant projects that are available to groups like ours, and then also get discounted rates for, you know, theater rental and stuff like that. But then also to just kind of build a momentum that we could turn this into a really professional quality group, which I think, you know, a lot of that professionalism is already there, but just adding that status, that 501c3 status, really helps in kind of pushing your group into a different category. Traditionally, American cities and towns have always had some kind of band to celebrate American music in association with that kind of event. And, you know, that's the kind of band that fills that role. And I see, you know, that's kind of our focus, is promoting the community band as that traditional community art form that it is.
So, just like, ba, 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 and don't, yeah. And timpani, or I'm sorry, tambourine makes sure right there on the offbeat.
And I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. If people aren't having fun, to me, there's no point.